Out of the hundreds of thousands of zombie game modes out there for TF2, none had the same level of polish as Zombie Infection. Most game modes struggle to properly balance between the zombie and survivor team. Usually zombies are nothing more than target practice for survivors, getting shot, stabbed, or exploded with zero chance of survival. Zombie Infection is the rare exception, however, that makes playing as a zombie storming a siege just as fun as the survivor shooting you. Each zombie, much like their human counterpart, has unique ability and role on the zombie team, meaning both survivors and zombies rely on one another to win. Survivors win if they survive till time runs out, either by hiding in a bush, running away like a chicken, or hunkering down and hurting the horde. Zombies, on the other hand, need to infect everyone before the timer runs out. Every time they infect someone, however, the timer increases by several seconds. When a zombie gets killed, they drop a small health kit helping the survivors out just a little bit. So it's best to coordinate with the zombie horde rather than rush out alone. The only other mainstay non-class specific gameplay change is surrounding the last few surviving survivors. When 3 people are left on red, everyone gains a mini crit boost. When there's only one left standing, however, that mini crit boost turns into a full crit boost. This little boost usually acts more of a hindrance rather than help, but we'll get into that later. For now, let's begin the ranking, starting with the human survivors. Pyroshark is puzzling. You can punish pests who plunge into pools pretty poorly. He barely passes F tier. I generally wouldn't rank Pyroshark, but due to the sheer abundance of water present in most zombie infection maps, he's a pretty popular sight to see as Pyro. Maps like Murky, Devastation, Woods, and even Atoll are covered in water. The guaranteed crits might sound plentiful, but it's important to recall just how many zombies can actually spawn in and swarm you while swimming. Most zombies won't go down in one hit either, as all of them, with the exception of Scout, require at least 2 hits to kill. Getting hit once yourself is enough to slowly sink into the abyss. Zombie heavies are also a massive headache. This is something you'll hear a lot from me today, and shouldn't be approached at all. You might outswim them in speed, but leave the whales to be watched. Their high health and crit immunity makes any damage you could deal negligible, and they hit back hard. Other problems Pyroshark faces: distance to medkits, zombie soldiers dropping in from the sky, zombie demos skating across the surface of the water, drowning, can't use your primary, mini crit and crit bonus mean nothing, extinction. Pyroshark is the marine biologist Demoknight, with no escape potential and no reward for the risk you take. Leave him to sleep with the fishes. Scoping in for several seconds seems to make you short-sighted to the swarm sneaking up to you, shortening your survival. Sniper excels in picking off priority targets before they become a problem. It's a somewhat simple job, but Sniper still sucks at it. Being scoped in makes you as vulnerable as a white woman walking alone at night. Scout's immense speed makes you vulnerable to being rushed down, zombie soldiers can easily stomp you from the sky, zombie snipers spit on you, and everyone else can get the jump on you if you get too tunnel visioned. Even if you unscope before they're right on top of you, Sniper so heavily relies on his teammates to clean up corpses, being unable to kill a fly with his SMG, and with most of his melees not making the cut either. The top priorities for you to pop are the Zombie Engineer. He's not only the easiest for you to shoot, but the most important for your survival, as a well-placed EMP can shut down a sentry and your hopes of surviving. Zombie Medic, who's a hassle to hurt due to his health, tendency to be surrounded by teammates, and uber flashes. Zombie Snipers, who will gladly spit on you and your grave if you don't stop them. You can get rid of them from safety without risking someone else to get swarmed. And zombie heavies. Their high health becomes a headache and a hassle that can be hurdled if you hurt them sooner rather than later. Unfortunately though, that's where Sniper's strength stops, at softening up zombies rather than outright stopping them. Most zombies simply just have enough health to take hits to the head like their Courier 6.
What in the goddamn?
Well, that's if you could shoot them in the head. The main gimmick and appeal of Sniper, headshots, just decided to take a sick day off, I guess, making it impossible to headshot zombies with any sniper rifle. To make the most out of Sniper, I highly recommend hunkering down and bunkering up with your battle buddy, the Engineer. For loadouts though, they're all pretty pathetic. Because you can't headshot anyone, the Bizarre Bargain and Hitman's Heatmaker are just outright downgrades to the stock sniper rifle. If there's 100 classic fans, I'm one of them. If there's 10 classic fans, I'm one of them. If there's one classic fan, it's me. If there's no classic fans, I'm dead, dude. The classic is unironically good in this game mode. Alright, good might be too much praise. The classic is okay in this game mode. Being able to charge up a shot and see the entire battlefield actually means a lot more in this game mode than normal, as there's so much stuff to watch out for. The Machina though is your best bet for battles. It's high damage at full charge, and collaterals can easily clear up a charging swarm and hurt zombie heavies without too much hassle. The Sydney Sleeper is in a similar boat. I'd argue it's even more effective for getting rid of zombie heavies, but kinda sucks for quick kills on the rest of the swarm. For secondaries, they all fucking suck. SMGs, they suck. Darwin's Danger Shield sucks. Razorback sucks like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. Girardi is also pretty meh. Its short range generally means anything you would use it on will be killed by a teammate. Good for zombie heavies or if you don't plan on being surrounded by other survivors. The Cozy Camper is the crowning champion though. Can't really beat passive health regen, especially on a class as frail as Sniper. For melees, I'd really just recommend stock and nothing else. Yeah, I know the Bushwhacker will give you free crits like it's happy hour at Hooters, but without help, Sniper is as good as gone in those situations. Especially with the Bushwhacker's damage taken increase, meaning you and the zombies need to hit twice. Also zombie heavy. Sniper just sadly doesn't have a solid shot at surviving without some support, and he seems only to provide shoddy suppressive fire rather than anything too shocking. Charging and clashing into a crowd of cumbering corpses with a claymore is a clear-cut way to get killed. To cut to the chase, Demoknight suffers against swarms but survives strongly by himself. You don't want to be grouped up with everyone else drawing attention to you, as it's a great way to get multiple zombies biting into you. One single zombie? Not a problem. 5 of them though? Bit of a problem. This gets worse and worse every single time a survivor dies too, adding another infected to irritate and injure you. Even though Demoknight should solo a single zombie, there's still a decent risk to it due to the larger health pools of most zombies. Zombie soldiers and medics require a couple extra hits to kill, which can cause some problems, and zombie snipers are more or less a coin flip on who wins. If the sniper zombie hits you first, you're dead. Even if you kill him, his suicide will still lead to your suffering. Then there's Zombie Heavy, who's on the no-go list due to his terrorist activities against Scotland back in 1988. That's not to say Demoknight is completely defenseless against the denizens of the undead. His shield is perfect for charging away from crowds he can't control or kill, and most of his swords have an on-kill benefit that boosts his survival even more. The final survivor bonus is boosting your short-term survival greatly. Just don't expect to hold out against a horde for anything longer than a minute. Demoknight is also heavily restricted by map choice. Certainly not to the same degree as Pyroshark, who's sucked to the sea, but maps like Murky, Atoll, and Blaze Hatton are just too small and cramped to run around in. Demoknight works best on Sanitarium, roaming around the floors or on the grounds outside. For shields, you can use the Tide Turner to maximize your mobility, trimming off of the few rocks here and there to make an insane getaway if needed. The Splendid Screed also works pretty well, especially with the eyeliner thanks to its increased charge damage. Would not recommend the charge and targe though, as the resistances only apply to Zombie Pyro, who's already extremely weak, and Zombie Demo, who's pretty easy to avoid. For sword selection, you got the eyeliner for maximizing mobility and damage even more. Just make sure you collect your heads before the zombies have yours. The small 15 health on kill is also a nice bonus that stacks sweetly with the small health kit most zombies drop on death too. Go big or go home though is the expression, and when it comes to healing, nothing helps and hurts more than the half Satuichi. Getting an immense amount of health back, including some overheal, is just fantastic, rivaling Canada's healthcare system. Just be careful of your swings around groups of zombies and zombie heavies. Those will make you feel like Canada's mental healthcare system. The Scotsman Skull Cutter can work if you're careful with it. Instead of roaming super far away from every other survival, you stick close by in case you need backup. Still as consistent as my upload schedule though, so... You should totally use the caber. It's not good at all, but I think it would be pretty fucking funny. I already think the Persian Persuader is a pretty niche item in normal vanilla TF2, and it's even more niche in zombie infection. Zombies don't have guns, so they don't drop ammo. So you gotta be some big old dumb doofus running around and stealing ammo packs from your teammates with actual guns to get any use out of it. Demoknight does have some things going for him that make him stand out and somewhat successful. Sometimes. It's just that he's extremely limited by both the map selection and your teammates' IQ to get consistent use out of him. He does good work against a couple zombies, but gets absolutely dunked on by others. Silently sneaking around, Spy stabs sad, unsuspecting souls, sending them back to the grave. His slender frame and stealth is both a strength and setback. First off, if you're gonna play lore-accurate French like this guy here, we're gonna have a problem. But Space Guy, I don't see anyone. Here, let me fix that for you. See him now? Because every single zombie can too. Crouching down with the cloak and dagger and cowering in a corner ain't gonna cut it here, alright? You aren't Solid Snake. Hell, you're more like an actual snake sitting back while the rest of your team fights for you. Makes sense for you, you are playing as a backstabber. Of course, if you could stab someone, you wouldn't be hiding in a box right now, would you? Dumbass. Spy works best when he supports the survivors sitting in their stronghold, attacking and backstabbing high priority zombies that can cause problems like Zombie Engineer, Zombie Sniper, and especially Zombie Heavy, running back to his team in case he gets swarmed. You aren't going to win by playing hide and seek with the zombies, especially with how zombie spies can instantly reveal your location to everyone on the map. Speaking of maps, while not as limited them like Demoknight is, Spy still suffers in extremely cramped and claustrophobic parts like Devastation, being unable to make a good getaway without running into a wall of rotting flesh. Spy's ability to insta-kill any zombie gives him an extremely solid niche as being one of the only classes who doesn't get a migraine the moment a zombie heavy shows up. Of course, he still needs to be extremely careful since his small health pool will lead to his death if he's caught. Spy's disguises are also very hit or miss. I'd rather have them than not, just don't rely on them to get the work done. Zombies can see their teammates through walls at all times, so when you disguise a zombie, they can see you while you can't see them. Some other issues with disguising is holding out a gun. The amount of times I'll notice a zombie medic I'm following hold out a syringe gun, instantly giving them away, is insane. If you don't know, hitting B by default while disguised will make your disguise match whatever weapon you have out. In this case, the knife corresponds to the zombie's melees and should be out at all times. Zombie spies will also remove your disguise if they manage to scream in your general area, typically at the worst possible moment. Overall, disguises work as intended, much like that one AAA game on release. You know the one I'm talking about. Moving on to the weapons, you have a strong, solid selection of revolvers to select from. They're decent enough at taking out a zombie who sees through your disguise, and can even reliably kill a couple more if you have the final survivor buff. Just don't expect them to make a miracle. All of them function more or less the same as their vanilla counterparts as a nice fallback tool, so I won't dive too deep into any of them, with the exception of the Enforcer. The Enforcer... Yeah, alright, get your fucking bleed jokes out of the way, alright? I'll wait. You done? Left your comment? Moving back with the video. The Enforcer is a solid choice due to its unique ability to pierce through damage resistances, making Spy an even better zombie heavy killer than before. If you ever suck at stabbing, you can easily end them with the Enforcer. For knives, we have stock for those who like to play it safe. The beginner works well for those quick picks, but it's a bit of a risk if you can't consistently get stabs to get away. Still works pretty well. The kunai triples that risk from before though. Even if you're an anime weeb god with the kunai, it only takes 2 hits from a heavy to kill you with overheal. And don't forget about that zombie sniper spit suicide combo. It works until everyone's chasing you. Still, if there's only 30 seconds left, the overheal could be enough to just get you by. Do not take the Your Eternal Reward. I literally just talked about how meh most disguises are, and the Your just makes them worse. Definitely do not take the Spysicle 2. Every time you backstab a zombie pyro or sniper, you'll be forced to wait for it to come back. It doesn't even really protect you from zombie sniper spit, it just let this thing melt. The hardest choice for Spy though is which watch to bring. The stock Invis watch is great for getting behind zombies and making impromptu escapes when things go bad without too much risk, while the Dead Ringer is ideal for much more aggressive plays and escaping from swarms at the last second. I'll just take the cloak and dagger and disappear. I'll make you actually disappear. Your loved ones will not know where you went, and you'll be gone for so long that you'll tear up and cry because you forgot what their voices sounded like. The red tape recorder is actually really busted in this game mode. You can sap zombies and they'll revert back into humans. It's crazy. Just take my word for it. My dad works at Valve and he told me about it. Spy supports the team a lot more steadily than say Demoknight can and on much more important targets. However, his survivability gets put into question once a swarm shows up. Demoknight can get away fairly easily and get a kill for health if needed, while Spy sort of struggles when the spotlight shines on him. Invis works short term but suffers once the survivors start to die off, meaning even if Spy wants to run off and hide from everyone, including his teammates, he's still heavily reliant on them. It's better to support them through stabs than strike out and go solo. Woo! Scout's survival stems from his speed, sprinting past swarms of zombies while his scattergun shoots through anything left standing. I don't like doing the whole positive-negative lettering system some tier list systems use, but I feel like I should clarify that Scout is technically C+ tier or B- tier, but for the sake of my OCD and keeping everything nice and flush. He shares the same strengths that Demoknight and Spy have, but with few of the drawbacks, and in some cases completely outperforms them. Starting with the simple, Scout's high mobility makes him extremely challenging to swarm up on, while his scattergun packs just enough punch to give him openings if he does ever get boxed in. He's perfect for roaming on the other side of the map or darting in and out of everyone else's sentry setup, killing or weakening high priority zombie targets before they become a problem. If he or a teammate ever runs into a problem though, he does have some support capabilities to get by just fine. Just because Scout is good at picking up priority classes and surviving in swarms though, doesn't make him great at it however. He's got brittle bone disease, and just a single solid hit is usually enough to cause Scout to shatter his kneecaps. Sniper zombies and their artillery acid are among the most annoying to deal with. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself as a skeleton in a spit shower. Zombie heavies generally aren't that much of an issue to deal with. Just be careful around them and the map geometry, as they will one-shot you. Similarly, watch the sky for zombie soldiers. Their Goomba stomps are strong enough to kill Scout. Since Scout has enough guns to arm the entire United States, there's a lot of loadout potential for him. You can boost your offensive power, your mobility, or even give yourself a support-based role. Starting with Reliable. The stock scattergun just works. I don't mean to bring up my inner Todd Howard here, but it's true. It's like a blue-collar worker on the 9 to 5. it works. Packs a pretty punch that hurts and has a decent enough clip size to kill 2 or 3 zombies in a pinch. Just watch your ammo count if you're being chased. The soda popper is in a similar situation. Great stopping power and even greater hopping power. Hype is perfect for getting away from extremely large swarms of zombies to safety. Its use is limited to some maps, but it's overall a solid choice. Just be careful of multiple zombies who want you to share a sip. Do you like to go fast in TF2? Then the Babyface Blaster is for you! Great on Sanitarium since you'll drive all your enemies insane as they try to catch you. Terrible on literally any other map. You gotta be extremely careful when using the Babyface Blaster, as a single slip up can spell disaster, especially when dealing with swarms. If you love to gamble away your kids' college tuition though, you'll love the inconsistent risks the Babyface Blaster provides. The force of nature is kinda good, the mobility is more consistent than the soda popper, but the knockback and damage leaves something to be desired on it. Great for holding out with other people up high on certain maps like Blaze Hatton or Sanitarium. The short stop falls just short of being a good weapon, I find. I'd much rather have 2 stronger shots at close range than tickle enemies from further away better. It's fun to push zombie demos around with though. Then we have the backscatter, which works as expected. Barely. It's actually kind of worse in this game mode since zombie heavies are completely immune to the mini crits it provides. So, what would be a somewhat easy kill for Scout becomes a bit of a challenge. All the pistols are great for finishing off or softening up zombies from afar, with the Pretty Boy Pocket Pistol being great for increasing your survivability, and the Winger your escape potential. The Flying Guillotine is a great weapon to use against zombie heavies. Not only are they real easy to hit because they move as slow as a quote-unquote legal drive in a school zone, but bleed is one of the few effects that completely ignores heavy's damage resistance. Mad Milk is also great to use against them as well, essentially acting as a free health kit for everyone who helps in hurting the Hulk. It has some niche use in helping out in discovering zombie spies and countering zombie Pyro too. Criticola is way too risky to bother using, while Bonk has a massive fucking setback to it, which we'll go over much later in this video. There's generally nothing too bad with Bonk alone, but this one stupid niche interaction makes it literally unusable. It can still be used to make an escape, but unless you're running back to teammates, all it will do is delay the inevitable. Also, for those who don't know, the slowdown it gives you can be completely negated by side strafing. The slowdown is not the setback I'm talking about. That can easily be prevented. The Candy Cane is a direct upgrade from stock. Zombies already drop a small health kit on death, but with this equipped, they'll drop 2. The Rap Assassin acts as another projectile. Once again, fantastic on the fat fuck that is zombie heavy, since bleed bypasses damage resistance. Scout is essentially Demoknight and Spy on steroids. He's got superb speed and stopping power that makes him getting stuck in a swarm pretty rare. He still faces the same downsides Spy and Demoknight face, such as fragile frame and a couple class counters, but isn't completely crippled by them, unlike those two. His large loadout also caters to any weaknesses you could have and gives him a somewhat supportive role. Aiming from afar with arrows is the only awesome act Sniper can actually achieve in this apocalypse. The Huntsman and the Fortified Compound for the cool kids deal double damage. Combine that with their close range capabilities compared to that of the sniper rifle, and the age-old bow and arrow beats out the bullet. They're capable of one-shotting most zombies with a well-placed arrow, and that's without aiming for the head. The massive damage increase also makes zombie heavies go down fast as well, giving you and your team some space to breathe. The Huntsman still has some problems though, such as dealing with zombies if they get too close for comfort. Nowhere near the same level of stress that the Snock Sniper would have, but still an issue. Similarly, getting swarmed is a death sentence. The Huntsman has a solid spot in any stronghold, as it provides a safe and quick way to snipe zombie snipers, engineers, and heavies without risk. It's a shorter segment, but what do you want from me? Go back to the sniper section if you want a secondary selection. The Dead Dread Demo, denying them from driving forward thanks to a dozen detonations they dare not disturb. Demo is great for locking down an entranceway to a holdout area. Stickies do a fantastic job of clearing out entire waves of zombies if they make a rush for you, while grenades are great for getting rid of scouts, spies, soldiers, and snipers while shaking off zombie heavies. Traps are also perfectly placed on buildings as well to protect them if an engineer EMPs them, or if a zombie heavy gets a tad too close. While best suited for supporting a safe and secure spot, Demo doesn't shy or struggle going solo either. Stickies make a great getaway, and pills pack enough punch to decimate most zombies you'll come across, as mentioned before. The only downside is downtime. Sticky traps and grenades take a while to set up and reload, allowing the swarm to sweep in if not careful. Similarly, while running solo, it's very easy to accidentally miss a pill or get bit while playing the sticky jump away. The Iron Bomber and Sock Grenade Launcher work as expected, nothing too shocking or new with them. The Lock and Load does have some extra range, which could be useful for sniping zombie snipers or other zombie hordes before they get too close, but the smaller splash radius, one less shot, and lack of rollers generally makes it a bad choice. The loose cannon is only for those who trouble themselves with maximum tomfoolery, knocking zombies back along the path while also giving increased damage through double donks. Cannon jumping can also save your skin in a second if needed. The stickies all work as you would expect. The sticky bomb is a great all-rounder, laying out traps or matching Guam in terms of spam, while the Scotch resistance locks down choke points the zombies have to go through, tighter than insert sexual innuendo here, at the cost of being easily caught out during reload or setup time. The Quickie Bomb launcher also surprisingly shines in this game mode, being great at softening and sniping swarms of zombies before they reach your front door. Of course, if they do get past your defense. The Sticky Bomb launcher. Look, we all know what kind of people use this, alright? That's why I skipped over the base jumper, okay? It's a real shame I installed anti-air guns for the sole purpose of shooting these suckers out of the sky. I already went over the swords with Demoknight, but for a normal demo, the best bet is the beer bottle. No switch to penalty, meaning you can whip it out when needed most. Insert sexual innuendo here. Demo is just an overall solid class, perfect for sitting tight surrounded by sentries and teammates, all safe and snug in a stronghold, and great at running and roaming around the map alone. While he doesn't hard counter any specific zombie classes, he isn't directly countered by any either. The biggest hassle of zombie heavies also aren't too much of a headache for him to handle. Still, the sheer size of the zombie team can overwhelm him if not prepared, or during his long downtime, and you'll need some steady aim when dealing with zombie scouts and soldiers. Mowing down zombies by the millions with his mighty minigun, Heavy manages to show his miraculous might in the middle of the macabre. Heavy is essentially a super sentry, slightly mobile with technically infinite lock-on range that makes him great for softening up targets from afar and shredding them to shrapnel once they get up close. His immense health means he can shake off a string of scratches and bites without too much stress. Just me mindful of sniper spit. Locking down an entire area or choke point constantly gives Heavy a similar niche to Demo. Unlike Demo though, Heavy's slow mobility and minigun make him absolutely miserable to move with, and repositioning or being knocked out of position is generally a death sentence without some support. Heavy is great at uncovering cloaked zombie spies as they're forced across through a choke he's typically firing full throttle at. Similarly, zombie soldiers get shot straight out of the sky when a Heavy sees them. Be mindful around zombie heavies and snipers though. Heavies won't insta-kill you, but their knockback on hit typically puts you straight into your grave. Zombie sniper spit will also quickly eat away at your health if you don't move away from it fast enough, so make sure to unrev and pay attention when needed. All of Heavy's miniguns suffer from a 40% damage penalty. Despite that though, they still pack a very pretty mean punch. The Brass Beast unloads a burden of bullets that just bores through any brainless bozos. Its extremely slow spin up and movement speed time doesn't mean too much when you're sitting safe beside a sentry and dispenser, you just have to be extremely mindful of spitter spit and sneaky zombies. The Natasha, on the other hand, slows zombies down ever so slightly, making a great support suppression weapon. The Tommy Slav is also great for attacking people from afar and to quickly reposition to and from points. Perfect on maps like Atoll or Sanitarium, which have wide open areas with multiple openings to a spot. Finally, there is the Huelong Heater, which technically isn't bad, but is just too niche to be good. It's like Burger King. Why choose it over something like McDonald's or Wendy's? All of Heavy's shotguns are great for relocating or running around the map when caught off guard, and you can't rev up. The sandwiches, on the other hand, are more like snacks for the entire class rather than you. Eating a sandwich takes you out of the action for a long period of time, making you extremely vulnerable to acid, spies, soldier stomps, demo charges, zombie heavies, and choking, I guess. Heavy's melees range from meh, may as well, to the 10th circle of hell, reserved only for treacherous traitors and the brutal acts of betrayal. The KGB, Eviction Notice, Fists of Steel, and Gru fall into that latter category, actively working against Heavy and causing more harm than good. The KGB kinda works but can become redundant unless you plan on fat scouting around, which, why would you? And it should be obvious why the Fists of Steel, Eviction Notice, and Gru aren't great. That leaves us with the Holiday Punch and Warrior Spirit. The Warrior Spirit health on kill and increased damage makes it perfect for the Final Survivor buff, allowing Heavy to survive without support for some time. Of course, its damage increase makes it a high risk and high reward. And on the complete opposite side, we have the Holiday Punch, which is just a complete and utter disappointment during the Final Survivor buff time. Jesus Christ, you didn't even hit that guy, he's just genuinely laughing at how pathetic you are. Heavy requires a lot of support surrounding him to get set up, but once that happens, he's set to survive for centuries, slaughtering anyone stupid enough to storm straight into him. Of course, on the move or sly strategies can cause Heavy to show some weakness, allowing him to be picked off. His immense health meaning very little in those situations since he can't get back to full. B tier is surrounded by classes that do a superb job at one thing, but fall slightly short of another. With Scouts, it's dealing with swarms, Demo's biggest fault is his downtime, and the Huntsman and Heavy get hit hard when not helped out by others. While they aren't as screwed over by their shortcomings of, say like Spy, they aren't strong enough to be seen in A tier. Pyro's best interest is invested in igniting the infected into an inferno. Engineers are also indebted to him intensively. Pyro is the premier soft support, anti-swarm, and anti-spy class. Originally I had him swapped of Heavy in B tier, but there were a couple of changes that made him compete for the crown, and he beat out Heavy. Again. Pyro can just snap his fingers and completely deny an entire team of rushing zombies due to his immense damage output. He completely shuts out several zombie classes such as Zombie Spy, Soldier, Demo, and Engineer, while being a pain in the neck for Zombie Heavy and Pyro. He only has some support capabilities, some which stand out more than others, extinguishing teammates from Zombie Pyros, destroying Zombie Engineer EMPs, revealing Zombie Spies, and of course, Air Blast, which can not only push zombies back, but save teammates from an early grave. There's only one downside to Pyro, and it's extremely easy to work around. Pyro's flamethrowers can't hurt zombie Pyros. They're completely immune to his Infernal Inferno and ignites. This sounds like a critical weakness on paper, but in reality it doesn't mean all that much, because, spoilers for later on, Zombie Pyro is gutter trash.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Zombie Heavy can also cause some trouble if you aren't careful and keep your distance, but are still pretty easy to manage, especially with one of Pyro's flamethrowers that makes him arguably better than Spy at killing them. His ammo consumption could also cause some alarm, especially with Air Blast, but it's fairly manageable if roaming around solo, and not an issue at all when setting up with everyone else. Looking at his loadout, and damn, looking like Lockheed Martin in here, because all these things are designed to decimate and destroy the dead. The Degreaser, Backburner, and Stock Flamethrower have the greatest answer to any issue: Air Blast. Zombie Demo charging towards you: Air Blast. Zombie Soldier soaring through the sky: Air Blast. Zombie Pyro sets fire to friendlies: Air Blast. Zombie Heavy just existing: Okay, well it doesn't work on him, but you get the gist. Thankfully, they all have a good damage output as well, with the Backburner and Degreaser working well against any other undead, either by hitting their backside or by finishing them off with a flare. The Flog is the odd one out, having no Air Blast. Not like you'll need it though, since you'll send all those damn souls back to hell where they belong, thanks to oomph. It just warms my old cold heart seeing an entire crowd be completely cremated. You can also do some sick parry action with the Flog's taunt, saving you from certain death. This works great against zombie demos and zombie heavies. If a zombie heavy hits you while during the Flog's taunt, you can actually get knocked out of it and keep the Uber with the crits still attacking. Finally, there's the Dragon's Fury. While it suffers against swarms, it more than makes up for it in single target damage, becoming a real tank shredder due to the damage increase on burning players. It's pretty easy to just melt you and your worries away when they're as big as a mountain and slow as molasses. Every hit increasing the fire rate ever so slightly. The air blast on the Dragon's Fury is a bit hooby-scooby, but you know, better than nothing. What the hell even is molasses anyways? The flare guns are great for harassing zombies from afar or finishing them off with a clean crit or mini crit. The squirt shot especially is great because it can be spammed and shot into a swarm, hitting several zombies at once. It also has a funny little interaction against zombie demos when charging that completely shuts them down, meaning you don't need to run up and air blast them away. I'll talk a bit more about the shotguns such as the stock shotgun and panic attack when we reach engineer, but for the reserve shooter, it's alright. It deals mini crit damage against zombie soldiers when they're using their ability, which gives Pyro a reliable way of hitting such a mobile enemy. The faster switch speed is also nice, but is kind of outclassed by the panic attacks. The thermal thruster is a niche pick, but has some usage on larger maps to quickly get around or jump to safety, primarily on woods on that boathouse god spot. You can skip waiting in line for the teleporter. I'll try to say something nice about the gas passer. Sorry, I meant the gas passer. Damn. Let's talk about something good now instead, alright? Pyro's melees are all extremely solid, either buffing his mobility, damage, or survivability tenfold. Minus the hot hand and volcano fragment. The extinguisher works as a finisher for afflamed foes, granting you a nice speed boost to escape and regroup with. The power jack speed boost is a lot more consistent though, but the damage increase it provides means you gotta keep your eyes and ears peeled for an ambush. Watch out for sniper spit especially. The Homewrecker has one of the most minute and minor niches in this entire game mode. It's genuinely crazy that they actually bother adding this in at all. It's like running into someone who's professionally employed as a court jester in the 21st century. The Homewrecker destroys zombie engineer EMPs. Now let me clarify, this does not mean if the EMP goes off and saps a building, the Homewrecker ends the sap, much like Spy Sapper. No, good sir. It is just capable of destroying the actual EMP bomb itself before it detonates, preventing it from sapping the buildings. Why? Your best bet though is that beaten up and bloodied back scratcher, making every zombie kill turn into 20 health to a whopping 52 health. Absolutely insane and allows Pyro to easily run around the map without much worry, especially with a 25% damage increase on top of it too. Pyro is overall a great class whose presence provides perfect protection against several powerful zombie enemies. Generally speaking, the more Pyros you have, the safer you should be, especially if you have a healthy mix of Dragon's Fury and non-Dragon's Fury Pyros. Having a competent Pyro essentially eliminates half of the zombie threat, and that's if he's just caught out alone. With friends, his fire is anything but friendly.
You were good, son, real good. Maybe even the best.
Soldier has a surprising selection of weapons to shoot and support his squad mates, all while soaring through the sky to safety. Soldier is just Demo Man to the power of 2. High damage, good crowd control, and great mobility, with the added benefits of extremely powerful support capabilities. Less downtime and more health. He's flexible enough to fill in any need or want your team needs, and works perfectly with several teammates or alone. It's hard to go into depth and detail with Soldier per usual, he's just great all around. Soldier doesn't directly counter any zombie class, but doesn't have any issues with any of them either, including the hulking headache that is zombie heavy. Rocket launchers are great for clearing out crowds thanks to splash damage, and has the potential to knock back some high value targets back along the path, such as zombie demo or zombie medic. If you ever get caught off guard too, simply jump away into the sky. Just be mindful of your health and the landing zone. The direct hit is perfect for taking out single targets even more, especially against zombie heavies. The fact that mini crits on blast jumps also means you can snipe zombie soldiers out of the sky with it. Just watch out for the swarm of zombie scouts you'll likely attract. The black box boosts your survivability greatly in this game mode, but it isn't all that useful if you plan on sticking beside a sentry and dispenser. Going out alone though, it's alright. The one less rocket can cause some complications, so be careful with it. The cow mangler is the best bet though. Infinite ammo means you'll never have to acquire ammo packs away from engineers or anyone else, and makes it a great option for running away. The charge shot also decimates any dead that dares to dig itself back up. Seriously, it's great for harassing and harming anything as long as someone is watching your back when you reload it. I wouldn't bother with the rocket jumper, beggar's bazooka, airstrike, or liberty launcher. Most zombies have enough health to shrug off the billion beanbags you'll barrage them with, and the beggar's bazooka takes too long to load up when needed most. The banners all bolster your buddies up for the battle. They're extremely easy to charge up and they're all pretty good. The weakest one arguably being the buff banner. The battalion's backup is a decent choice for when things go sideways, upside down, black and white, and red all over, as its damage resistance has some serious clutch capabilities. Plus, 20 extra health ain't that bad. The conch though is the clear choice for champion. Passive health regen and the ability to gain health back on hit for you and your allies, a massive speed boost, and it requires less damage to charge, meaning you'll have it good to go more often. The bison though, let's fucking go! Fuck yeah, the bison! Fuck yeah! Alright! Go bison! Yeah! I had such high hopes. Soldiers' melees all kinda suck in this game mode. The best options you have are the Zatoichi, disciplinary action, and arguably the escape plan. I wouldn't personally recommend going Trolldier and market guarding enemies, especially when the zombies start ramping up in team size. But I also heard all the kids these days are killing themselves, so you do you. Soldier is just stupid strong as mentioned before. He has a little bit of everything you need, and while he may not specialize in anything specific, he doesn't need to thanks to his sheer strength. Single target damage, crowd control, support, tankiness, mobility. Soldier is like my ex-wife's new husband, just the entire goddamn package.
Prepare for your examination.
The sadistic surgeon specializes in supporting his squad with syringes, which also stick to the swarms that are sent upon him. Medic is not just one of the strongest support classes in the game by healing injured teammates and saving them from infection, by popping uber crits to push back and patrol zombies turning the tide. Medic is a shockingly strong single target class thanks to both the Uber Saw and Crusader's crossbow. The crossbow is so strong, it actually makes the Huntsman kinda redundant, which should make Sniper even worse than he actually is, but I've had to rewrite this twice now, so fuck it. Medic's high damage output and long range makes him ideal for sniping zombie snipers in particular, and any other zombies before they get too close. The damage increasing the further away they are. The fact Medic can heal people surrounding him and himself thanks to his passive regen means no zombie poses that much of a problem to him, including zombie heavy. The only downside Medic has is just how boring his loadouts actually are. They're the exact same as their standard vanilla counterparts. There's no reason not to pick the Crusader's crossbow. As for the Mediguns, the Kritzkrieg works great for quickly clearing out crowds, but you gotta be careful of zombie sniper spit and zombie heavies. The quick fix can be pretty useful. This uber means you can quickly heal everyone back to full, which can be extremely useful if there's several spit stains surrounding you and your team, like it's a Wild West saloon. The Mirror Blast jump ability also allows you to quickly get out of danger, as long as you don't get left behind. And then there's Stalk. 8 seconds of invulnerability is ideal for when the idiots on your team eventually fuck up and forget to close the window. This pairs perfectly with another medic to allow for some infinite uber trains with the Uber Saw. The Vaccinator does technically have some use in this game mode, but it rivals the Home Wrecker and a wheelchair with pedals in terms of usefulness. The blast resistance of the Vaccinator could potentially save you from a zombie demo's charge, and that's it. I mean, I guess you could also use it to help against zombie Pyro, but zombie Pyro is pretty pathetic. For melees, you have the Uber Saw and the Amputator. The Uber Saw is the Uber Saw. Do you need me to explain how good it is? It's been crowned Miss Universe for 12 years in a row now. The aliens are pretty pissed off about that. The Amputator, on the other hand, is a lot more dynamic. Not only does it provide more passive health regen to Medic, allowing him to survive slightly better, but his taunt allows you to heal several suffering suckers without straining or stressing yourself. Perfect for screwing over Sniper Spit even more. Medic just makes miracles. Anytime you're surrounded by zombies with zero chance of surviving, bam, arrow to the face of either you or the zombie, and you're safe and sound thanks to a syringe. Overheal is another important thing that generally gets glossed over, but allows classes like Scout and Engineer to take a hit from Zombie Heavy and walk away, instead of joining the infected. Combine that with Uber Charge and Medic's capable combat skills, and it's easy to see why he climbed up to A tier. Engineer excels at keeping everyone engaged with the enemy, either through the ammo economy or efficiently and effectively eliminating enemies through sentries. Shouldn't be that much of a surprise. No matter how strong the survivors are, if they don't have an engineer supporting them, they're sure to be stopped. He's essential to win the game. Sentries, despite having a massive 60% damage penalty, still act as a wall for zombies that they'll need to get rid of to infect others, requiring massive amounts of coordination from the zombie team to get rid of. Teleporters also have some niche use in saving people if the sentry spot gets swarmed, allowing you to set up elsewhere. They can also be used to block staircases off as well, giving you a slight heads up of what's coming. And then we have the dispenser, which is undeniably the single most important thing in the entire game for survivors. Unlimited health and ammo means you can keep shooting your guns at your neighbors non-stop like the NRA. The ammo is so pivotally important that the age-old joke of dispenser pick actually matters here. Without the dispenser, or engineer for that matter, survivors just cannot survive the swarm storm that will soon be sent upon them. You might feel this is a bit of a cheap ranking since engineer himself isn't all that remarkable and plenty of zombies do counter him quite easily, with shotguns and pistols being somehow less effective killing something than a dead fish. A low health pool, low mobility, and worst of all, no hair. But despite all that, without an engineer, the game really does just fall apart fast. Sentries easily shut down zombie scouts, can hurl heaps of hurt at zombie heavies, demos, soldiers, and medics. Zombie soldiers can get the jump on them, and engineer though. Literally, landing on top of an engineer or sentry and strafing around to destroy it. Zombie demos can also get lucky with their blast charge ability and send sentry nests straight to the stratosphere. Zombie engineers can throw an EMP which disables and damages them for several seconds, allowing more zombies to push in and sweep up. Similarly, zombie medic can uber flash surrounding zombies, ensuring they get the kill or destruction in. Then there's zombie spy, whose stealth abilities make engineer a top priority pick for him. 2 swings is all it takes, so watch your back. Finally, there's zombie heavy, who will draw the sentry's attention away from the other zombies, allowing them to rush right past it. He can also destroy buildings and engineer in one hit, and has a 50% damage resistance against them too. Extremely dangerous, as we'll see with his placement. Yeah, it's a long list of weaknesses, but look at you. Arsenic, bullets, choking, disease, Eddie Murphy, fire, guns. All I'm saying is don't mock my boy engineer, alright? He's at least bringing the dispenser down here, okay? Well, a dispenser and these weapons, but mainly the dispenser. The stock shotgun is reliable for finishing off weakened zombies that sidestep your sentry, but it lacks both the ammo and damage to save you in a real shitty situation. The panic attack sorta has the same issues, but its faster switch to speed makes it a lot better for when a zombie spy or scout sneaks up on you. The rescue ranger can save your sentry without putting yourself at risk at the severe damage output cost. Great for when you're sitting with teammates though. The Widowmaker is the premier last survivor weapon. Essentially infinite ammo while crit boosted, and an oddball 10% damage increase when shooting the same person as your sentry, giving it a slight niche when combating zombie heavies too. Just watch your medal count. The Thompson has a unique ability that puts zombie abilities on cooldown. Sounds cool at first, but then you realize it's kinda crap. Zombie heavies are your biggest threat and are completely immune to this since they have a passive ability, not an active one. The biggest use you could get from the Thompson will be sniping zombie snipers with it, sucking up their spit, but the Thompson shoots so slowly, that's not gonna happen. The second biggest use though is denying zombie medics from uber flashing themselves and teammates, allowing you to screw them over hard, if you can hit them. The frontier justice fucking sucks. 9 out of 10 times you'll lose your sentry to a zombie heavy, be left with 36 revenge crits which have 0 effect on him, and die thanks to his lower clip. Its use is also completely redundant with the last survivor buff. Just stick with stock. For secondaries, just stick with the pistol. Decent range to soften up zombies before switching to a shotgun, or vice versa as a finishing off tool. The Wrangler has some use in shooting zombies from afar, especially zombie snipers, but the downtime with the shield and the repair penalty makes it a bit too risky for me, and I've gambled away my kids' college tuition. As for the wrenches, the Jag is the top dog. Faster build time, faster upgrade time, and technically no repair penalty despite the text saying otherwise, thanks to his faster swing speed. The wrench isn't bad once you get your sentry dispenser set up, but it's a generalized coin flip if they actually stay up long enough for you to use it. I wouldn't bother with the Southern Hospitality. I don't have a reason as to why. Just seems like a safety hazard with that sharp blade. Then we have the Eureka effect, which, wow, what an asshole. The Gunslinger, and by extension Battle Engineer as a whole, just isn't designed to work in this game mode. Zombies just have more health, which makes the already low damage output the mini-sentry has as impactful as the many protests against my many war crimes. Combine that with his low health and yeah, it's not working. The extra health the Gunslinger does provide on Engineer can be useful, but without the mini-sentry to really support you, you're stuck with your shotgun, which doesn't seem to stop the zombies at all. Overall though, Engineer is an extremely powerful support class that heavily relies on his team to protect and save him as much as his team relies on him. Sentries are strong enough to stop swarms from being an unstoppable force, but have so many setbacks that they still need some love and care. Dispensers, on the other hand, giving out free health and ammo, are extremely important to ignoring the infection, are in fact essential to winning as survivors. So save your engineers before they get stabbed, spat on, or squashed.
The zombies are coming.
The undead, the infected, walkers, ghouls, freaks, zombies. Zombies have one simple goal in this game: infect all survivors. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, and kids, especially the children. Don't leave a single one left standing before the time runs out. Zombies all have unique abilities to aid them in their attack on those who are still alive. Some are active abilities that require you to press M2 to use, while others are passive. Typically, zombies deal 65 damage on hit and drop a small health kit when killed, although there are some exceptions to that rule. Zombies are also completely immune to fall damage, so feel free to fall off the tallest building you can. Your soul's already been shot, so why not your knees too, huh? Without further delay, let's inspect the infected. The infected engineer eagerly throws EMPs, affecting and erasing all electronics. From the top of the tier list to the very bottom, Zombie Engineer is so niche that my previous two analogies and jokes regarding the specificity of certain qualities don't even come close to describing how minute and minor of a role Zombie Engineer actually has in this game mode. Spawning in with a total of 150 health, despite wearing a hard hat, he doesn't have the health or combat capabilities to actually afford getting into any fight. Easily picked off by everyone, the one thing Engineer does have is his EMP, which also sucks. By right-clicking, you can throw this EMP, which will detonate after 3 seconds, and assuming you make it land near a building, and also assuming a pyro doesn't destroy it with the home wrecker, you deal a whopping 110 damage to whatever sad dispenser, sentry, or teleporter you hit, and disable it for 6.5 seconds. And that's it. Pray to whatever zombie god you have that your teammates still have a brain, or at least someone's brain, and actually push in when you throw your EMP. After a fairly long 10-second cooldown, do it all again. The damage your EMP does to buildings needs to be expressed here. 110 damage does sound like a lot on paper, but once you look into the stats, you're never going to sabotage a sentry with it. A level 1 sentry has 150 health. Can't even destroy that. A level 3 sentry has 216. You barely deal half of its health by 2 points of damage. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. So go literally any other zombie class instead and destroy the sentry and engineer for good. An amalgamation of asinine annoyances, this arsonist can't accomplish anything at all. Zombie Pyro was originally my pick for the worst zombie class in the entire game, but after an extremely large rework and balancing, he's now only the second worst. And it's less that he got better and more, yeah, I can see the potential here. In many cases, he's actually worse now than before. I don't blame the balance team too much though, as Pyro seems to be a hard class to create, causing a lot of confusing small buffs and changes. For starters, he has 200 health. Certainly on the upside, but it isn't all that impressive when compared to classes like Soldier, Heavy, or Medic. Pyro is also completely immune to all liquids, which includes Girardi, the Gas Passer, and Mad Milk. This is a big old nothing burger of a buff, as it's better to hold off onto these things to extinguish yourself or teammates after you kill the Pyro, rather than use it on him. On death, Pyro explodes, dealing a massive 10 damage to surrounding players. 10 damage. How scary. It's the equivalent of stubbing your toe on the table. On hitting an enemy, Pyro will ignite them for several seconds. Sounds great, but it comes at the cost of Pyro actually dealing less damage on a direct melee hit too. Instead of the standard 65, he deals 45. The afterburn of this attack is also very ass, dealing a maximum of 24 damage, or a total of 69. Nice. Keep in mind though what I said before with medics, dispensers, or other dropped health kits though. Pyro can actually deal mini-crit damage off this attack if the enemy is already on fire, but it's kind of redundant and actually challenging to do so, which you'll see why soon enough. Thankfully, Pyro does have one final passive ability that's actually pretty good. Complete immunity to fire damage. Not just afterburn, but the direct flames of the flamethrower will not deal any damage to him. Still, not the best thing in the world, since Pyros can just switch to their secondary or melee to deal with you, but if you fight them in a group, it will cause some chaos. Pyro also has an active ability, because of course he does. We aren't done yet. Upon right-clicking, you fire at a Dragon's Fury projectile and air blast in a small radius in front of you. And here's where the problems start piling up even more. Let's take the two parts of this ability and go through it one by one, alright? Let's start with the Dragon's Fury projectile. It has extremely short range, but can be useful to combo into your main melee attack, granting you mini-crit damage. It can also hit multiple targets too if they're lined up. The damage it deals though is really meh, dealing 27 damage on a hit plus afterburn. Then we have the air blast part. This can push back players in addition to any projectiles flying towards you. On paper, sounds powerful, but in reality, it just makes you mess up more. The air blast pushes people away from both your melee and your Dragon's Fury shot, meaning you're actually saving the survivor rather than slaughtering them. The ability to air blast projectiles sounds cool until you realize most survivors stay on the high ground, making it impossible to actually hit them at all with that rocket they shot at you. This isn't to say that Pyro doesn't have potential, as I said before. The air blast can be used to push people off high ground and into the swarms below, or in this one rare case, a meat grinder, but he's so held back and lost in the sauce that it's hard to just look at how simple Zombie Sniper Heavy is and just pick them instead. Space Guy from the future after editing this video for the 4th time over, because of course they would edit and change how a Zombie Pyro works for a 5th time. Zombie Pyro drops a medium health kit on death. That's one thing that's not mentioned here. Why? Why though? If the point of him is to rush in, hit him with your Dragon's Fury or melee, and then like explode and die and do like minimal damage, but like whittle down the survivors so like somebody else can get the finishing blow, why drop a medium health kit on death? Zombie Scout Supreme Speed makes unsuspecting survivors search through shadows, only to be surprised by their own screams. Simply put, Scout is in every single aspect a worse soldier. Scout has the lowest health pool in the entire game mode, second to that of a Kunai Spies at a mere 75, meaning any solid shot a la center mass will send him packing. His passive ability does come with some neat abilities though, such as passively having a triple jump, allowing him to attack from the air or reach spots he really shouldn't, on top of a naturally higher jump height and 75% faster movement speed. Sadly though, Zombie Soldier just does everything he can, but better. The one saving grace I do give Scout though is on the few maps and spots Zombie Soldier sorta sucks at, such as Inside Sanitarium or Devastation, Zombie Scout is your go for. Outside of that though, Zombie Scout is just outclassed in every way by someone stronger. That being said, he isn't detrimental or entirely useless like the classes who shall not be named below him. It's just that his low health makes him an extreme challenge to get kills with. Barreling forward with a belly of bombs, the brain-dead Demo blasts apart any barricade you've built up. Much like how Scout is a weaker soldier, Demo is a slightly weaker heavy. Unlike Scout though, whose use case is really more of an opinion rather than a tactical choice, Demo does have some benefits that his counterpart doesn't. He might not be as tanky as heavy, but Zombie Demo still has a decent health pool of 200. What really sets him apart though is his blast charge ability. Upon activation, the Demo is ubered for a brief second before charging forward and exploding in a small radius around him for a massive 275 damage. Typically the suicide bomb results in, well, the suicide of the Demo, but not always, as a friendly zombie medic can actually allow the zombie Demo to survive his blast charge. The speed of the charge makes it perfect for when survivors are camping in more open areas or when they're so tunneled in that getting close with anything else is just too difficult. Demo's charge also makes for an alright ambush tool, but you're better off with dealing some other zombie to achieve the same thing. Despite the praise though, a lot of things can cause that charge to get complicated and crash out. Air Blast completely denies it, in addition to any other knockback like stickies or rockets. Similarly, if you don't make your mark, you don't detonate, meaning a Huntsman sniper or Crusader crossbow medic will typically snipe you as you make your way to the control point. The charge itself is also pretty janky, much like that one AAA game. Listen, if they're allowed to reuse assets, I'm allowed to reuse jokes, okay? Zombie Demo, despite having several counters, shouldn't be underestimated though. There's been plenty of times where I've turned a corner only to be blown up to bits. Sneaking around in the shadows, the spy makes sure you'll never seem to be safe, stabbing at your spine. You'll never see him, but the swarm sees you. Zombie Spy used to be the weakest combat role on the zombie team. He was permanently invisible, but the green smog particles and glowing eyes would constantly give him away, and his low health of 150 made him pretty pathetic at storming around instead of sneaking. Not anymore though. Spy is now permanently invisible. Think you're safe standing beside a sentry or dispenser? Spy thinks so too, which is why he's waiting for you to walk on over all injured like, allowing for an easy infection. Spy can very easily pick off high priority targets if the team isn't paying attention to their surroundings. It only takes 2 swings to kill an engineer without overheal, and you're essentially guaranteed to always get the first hit in. There's also the niche fact that spies can take enemy teleporters too, so don't expect your jump spot to be super safe either. Pyros are nearly essential on the more open maps to make sure he hasn't infiltrated and infects anyone, especially maps like Atoll or Woods, and we haven't even touched his ability yet. Every 10 seconds, Zombie Spy can let out a blood-curdling scream which reveals all nearby survivors around him. This scream also makes him visible for a period of time too, so be extremely careful where you use it. The scream is best suited when dealing with the last survivor who's cowering away in a corner somewhere, or a crafty spy who's taken up a disguise. The scream will outline the player, informing everyone on the zombie team exactly where they are for 20 whole seconds. I'm pretty sure spies who are hit with the scream also have their disguises removed, but I could be wrong. Spy is a scary threat who places the potent seeds of paranoia, waiting for the perfect moment to strike like a snake in the grass. He can pounce when everyone's distracted with that zombie heavy rush, or be the distraction himself, allowing for a push in the opposite direction, getting a quick clean kill that will slowly spiral the survivors to suffer.
Almost dead,
With magical might, Medic can miraculously mend any mistakes and mishaps made by the Macabre, making them mow through like the monsters they are. You're always going to need at least 1 or 2 Medic zombies. They're pretty good at assaulting enemies, but they're the only zombies that have a true support role, passively healing injured infected around them akin to a dispenser, especially helping out zombie heavies. Their active ability on the other hand works as a mega busted attack and support ability. Not only does it flash all surrounding teammates with 1 second of Uber, allowing them to break through any barricades, it also gives them an immense amount of overheal to keep up the pressure afterwards. Just a single good flash of this heal ability can absolutely decimate and destroy anything and can quickly lead to an instant game over. Be mindful of air blasting Pyros though, who will shut you down. Soldier should be your stock solution to any situation. Strong, speedy, and surprisingly stealthy. Solid overall. Should I keep going? The alliteration on this one was just immaculate, perfectly summed it all up. Soldier has the second highest HP out of all the zombies at a pretty hefty 225. Typically this high health comes at a cost, but not for Soldier, as aside from Scout, he's one of the most mobile classes in the game thanks to his pounce ability, launching high up into the air, landing right beside, or better yet, on top of anyone. Landing on top of someone has the same effects as the Man-Tread Stomp and can kill someone who's already on low HP or leave them low enough for a single swipe of your normal melee. This pounce ability is generally the only way the zombie team can actually get up and damage the humans in some case, primarily on Woods or Blaze Hatton. The only downside Zombie Soldier has is that some maps just aren't all that suited for him, as I said before with the inside of Sanitarium, and in some spots such as Devastation. Outside of that though, Soldier is an extremely strong all-around class and should always be your go-to pick before scoping out what the situation is before specializing into something else. Aiming his acid attack from afar, the absent-minded will all ache under the artillery Sniper sends out. Zombie Sniper is the only real range class the zombie team has. He doesn't have a lot of health, only 150, but in this case it's actually more helpful than hurtful. He's essentially the Pyro zombie, but actually good and useful. Let's start with Zombie Sniper working as a frontline attacker. Despite the small health pool, as long as you can get 1 hit in as Zombie Sniper, you're nearly guaranteed to kill everyone but Heavy. This is because Sniper Zombie drops his acid on death on top of his ability. This acid does so much fucking damage, the United States Army is looking into its research potential to replace the atomic bomb. 50 damage a second. If you're in melee range, you're guaranteed to hit the person for 100. This makes the Sniper Zombie the ultimate counter for Demoknights and an extreme threat if they manage to get close to anyone else. Even more so if they're trapped in some claustrophobic area like in Devastation or Sanitarium. Sniper does drop a health kit on death, but because it spawns in the middle of your acid lake, they have to ignore it or take 30 damage instead of the usual 50. So 20 damage more than Pyro's stupid death explosion. What makes this acid ability even stronger though is that you can stack and chain them together to have 2 active acid pools at once. One on death and another for your ability. Shredding through even sentries in this case, even though the spit deals 50% less damage to them. The spit has a bit of an arc to it, meaning you can safely stand behind cover and aim. I've gotten some ridiculous blind shots with this. The more snipers you have too, the stronger the spit gets, denying more and more room for the survivors. There's only a few classes that can come and challenge you if you plan on sitting back and sniping spit as well. There is one downside to the Sniper Zombie though, that doesn't make him the best or strongest zombie out there. Every time somebody plays him, they make the exact same goddamn dated joke. I've seen and heard things before, but this is the thing that keeps me up at night. Don't act fucking surprised, alright? We're axing out the alliteration, alright? This is serious shit. This entire video, I've been mentioning how much of a headache and hassle Zombie Heavy is to fight against. Even when he's been nerfed, he's still easily the strongest zombie out there. Hell, if you played this game mode once, you'll understand what makes Zombie Heavy so strong, but you don't understand everything that makes him powerful. Let's go over Zombie Heavy's 2 downsides. He drops a medium health kit on death, which doesn't mean all that much as long as you're properly playing with a group of people and not running straight into sentries, soldiers, snipers, scouts, spies, syringes, stickies, or scorching flames. And the other, much more noticeable downside though, is Heavy's slow speed. Heavy already is the slowest class in the game, but Zombie Heavy moves 10% slower, meaning you can't really chase after anyone if they're paying attention. This also does not mean much though, since Zombie Heavy's job isn't to chase after some random scout, it's to smash the survivor's stronghold and sentries. Let someone else do it for you. Just don't be careless and take excess damage on your way to the front line, unless there's a zombie medic with you. And now, we come to the long list of upsides Zombie Heavy has. Keep in mind, this is Zombie Heavy after he's been nerfed. Zombie Heavy deals 143 damage on hit, capable of one-shotting any light classes. Zombie Heavy is completely immune to knockback, including Air Blast, the Loose Cannon, the Force of Nature, or other strong knockback sources, except when he knocks himself, allowing him to use certain pumpkin bombs to blast jump forwards or upwards. Zombie Heavy has 450 health and a 30% damage resistance. Technically speaking, this means he has 585 health against most sources, except sentries, where he has a 50% resistance, or essentially 675 health. Zombie Heavy deals greatly increased knockback on hit, meaning even if they survive, they'll be put in a poor position. Zombie Heavy also instantly destroys any and all buildings in a single hit regardless of health. And finally, Zombie Heavy can hit through states of invulnerability. You got that fucking right. Even when you're literally invincible, you aren't safe from Zombie Heavy. I've had it happen to me several times while Ubered, however it doesn't have a 100% replication rate, meaning it's more than likely a bug. Against Bonk though, nope, that's an intended feature it feels. He won't kill you, but 1 HP really does not leave a lot of wiggle room now, does it? Quick reminder that this is the nerfed version of Heavy. The previous one effectively had 845 health. Now that Heavy, I originally had as SS tier. Double S, that's the first in the history of me doing tier list videos, just to paint a picture on how strong Heavy was, and I guess still is. The more heavies, the better too. If one can cause such immense pressure and stress like a goddamn hydraulic press, imagine if there was 2 coming after you. He's a goddamn one-man cheeseburger apocalypse and he will not rest because he knows he's the fucking best. And that's Zombie Infection, the 6th or 7th zombie-based game mode I talked about on this channel. I'm just thankful that the more obscure community game modes are getting more recognition from the general public thanks to the power of V-Script. You got Zombie Infection, versus Saxon Hill, Prop Hunt, Gun Game, and even Deathmatch all coming into the greater view of the community. Zombie Infection especially is just a nice quick in and out experience. Get in, gut a guy here and there, and get out. Its inclusion in the official roster of TF2 makes me hope and wonder for some more experimental and exciting modes from the community, even if I am technically a year late with this one. If you made it this far below, how about sticking around by subscribing or checking out the Discord down below? There should be a Halloween-based contest currently happening with some prizes to spice up the season. There's also some more video update stuff there that you can keep up with if you really care. With all that out of the way, time to lay these old bones back to rest until someone makes yet another zombie-based game mode.